So we're starting off with Choso facing Naoya, and that's pretty much going to take up the majority of this chapter. And Choso's like, I'm the oldest of 10 siblings. That's kind of interesting because it's always been 9, you know, like the 9 Cursed Room death paintings, but I guess Choso's now retconning it to include Yuji, or, like I said a couple chapters back, maybe Yuji actually is some kind of cursed womb or something like that, because obviously the first woman that all of this stuff came from originally had a child with her. Not saying that was Yuji, I'm just saying there could be something going on here. And also, I just can't forget what Geji said in the interview about how false memories isn't a thing. Again, either he was trolling or he wasn't, I don't know, but 10 siblings is interesting, that's all I'll say. But then Naoya's like, that's no answer. I'm asking about your curse technique and your toughness. And like I said in previous reviews, it's understandable that Naoya doesn't understand what's going on with Choso here, because he's not up to date with like the Cursed Womb death painting stuff. Therefore, he doesn't know that Choso has this curse technique as a result of getting the blood from Noritoshi Kamo like 150 years ago or something. But Naoya goes after him again, but now Choso can kind of keep up with him, because in the previous chapter we saw him use red scales, which basically just gave him physical buffs through blood manipulation. But a cool thing that's being pointed out here is that Naoya said, oh, he's adjusted to me, flowing red scale. He's focusing that technique in his extraocular muscles to raise his dynamic visual acuity. So that's pretty cool. Just manipulating the blood in his eyes allows him to keep up with the crazy speed of Naoya. But apparently this still isn't enough, because Naoya always acts on the assumption that Choso's going to counter, so therefore Naoya can counter this. But not only that, he's also stabbed him with like a little sword dagger thing. I'm sure somebody in the comments knows the name of this thing. And he's like, you've got blood manipulation, so stopping bleeding is your forte, but how long can you last against me while paying attention to that? Then we get some more insight into Naoya, and he's like, honestly, it isn't cool for a sorcerer to walk around with a weapon, so keep it a secret. Those who wield weapons are dependent on them to win, and there are a lot of sorcerers who carry them around. The way my older brother showed them off is pathetic. I'm amazed at how they complained about Toji. So that's kind of interesting too. I think this is like the second time he brought up Toji in sort of a positive light. Like before, he was like saying that like Toji should have lived and that one of his older brothers should have died or something like that, or maybe it was the uncle or something. But I guess this means that maybe Naoya liked Toji. I mean, how can you not? I also recently made a video about Toji. You can check it out right here. But considering this is the second time he's brought him up, I wonder that if, you know, the inevitable confrontation between Naoya and Megumi happens, I wonder if he'll talk about Toji to him. Because you gotta assume he probably knows that Megumi is the son of Toji. But then Choso's like, so you hate your brothers? Now he's like, yeah, that's right. There's no point to big brothers who are inferior to their little brothers. They should, do something bad to themselves that I can't say on YouTube. But then Choso goes deep big brother remorseful mode, and he's like, well, maybe it's because of them that you are who you are. Whether they're superior or inferior, older brothers are role models for their younger brothers. And basically that, like, you know, the younger brother can follow in the footsteps of the older brother. The older brother can make the mistakes and then show the younger brother like, hey, don't do this, don't be like me, be better than me. And then saying like, hey, Naoya, maybe you're strong because your younger brothers are weak. And going further, Choso's like, you know what? You asked why I'm tough. Well, that's because I didn't have someone to guide me. I kept making the mistakes. And it's like, therefore, I have to walk ahead of my little brothers. And that's why I'm strong. So if you already didn't like Choso enough, here's some more, just Geji hammering it home like Choso, which is, you know, kind of concerning because now he's probably gonna die. Obviously not in this chapter, but you know, eventually. Let's hope not. But anyway, while this was happening, like all of the blood from his wound that Naoya caused is like coming out. And it's like an insane amount. And now he's like, how can he bleed that much and live? And then we get some awesome insight into the brokenness of Choso here, when it says that death paintings have mixed blood from cursed spirits and humans. They have a special constitution capable of converting cursed energy into blood. As long as they have cursed energy, they won't die of blood loss. So like I said, this is making Choso way more broken than we originally thought. And maybe that's why the brain, using Noritoshi Kamo, wanted to create these death paintings, or at least Choso and the others, because of this loophole. Because normally, you know, like a regular sorcerer who's like a human, they're gonna die when they run out of blood, but considering that, you know, you have the best of both worlds with these cursed wombs, they can, I don't know, essentially remove all the blood from their body, but still be alive because of their cursed energy, and then manipulate all of that blood into this one crazy attack. I really like this sequence, and I like how everything ties together here. This is pretty awesome. But he sends like a blood tidal wave at Naoya, and this is like blocking his vision of him while he's trying to dodge it. And he also sends up a follow-up attack, but it's apparently too slow because Naoya says it is, and he's probably dying from the blood loss because obviously Naoya is not hearing the narration that we are. But then Choso appears to the side of him and shoots a piercing blood at him. But then Choso kicks him, but at the same time, some of the blood gets on like Naoya's pants. And he's like, my legs feel heavy. Is he controlling the blood stains on my Hakama? And then Choso starts to do piercing blood again, and he's like, this is checkmate. And then Naoya's like, you sure? My curse technique traces movement at 24 frames per second. Going back to what we discovered in the previous chapter, that Naoya does in fact have the projection sorcery curse technique. And then he's like, go on and try, but then Choso doesn't do anything as Naoya is moving forward. And then he's like, why isn't he releasing his attack? And then the narration says this move was a Choso original, born of Choso honing his own curse technique for 150 years. And he's like, sorry, but you didn't love your brothers. And then boom, hits him with the supernova, the same thing we saw him do to Yuji back in Shibuya. The big like explosion, scatter shot, blood piercing thing. And this really hurts Naoya like bad and just puts him down. So this was great. I really enjoyed this fight here. All of the explanations we're getting here from both sides, very well done from Geji in my opinion. But just as we were riding a high on Choso, now Okkotsu shows up, dragging Yuji behind him. And then he just backhands Choso and puts him out with, I guess, just one strike here. Like, Okkotsu is such a beast. And then he looks down at Naoya and he's like, looks like you're hurt, Naoya. And he's holding up his hand, which seems to have cursed energy coming out of it. So let's break this down. So first of all, he has Yuji with him. Last time we saw it, he stabbed Yuji in the heart and Sukuna like reacted to it. And we thought, okay, so does that mean that Sukuna's coming out, or does that mean that Fushiguro showed up? And apparently neither of those happened. So the verdict's still out on what's going on with that. But at this point, seemingly Yuji is dead or very, very close to being dead. And it's like, what's going to happen here? What's going on? So some possibilities here is that Yuji goes back into that suspended death state that he did, you know, when he originally made the binding vow with Sukuna. And speaking of the binding vow, maybe that comes into play here. Maybe that activates and then something happens with Sukuna, or they go back into the suspended death state. He goes back into Sukuna's domain and they have like another talk or something, or more of Sukuna seeps into Yuji at this point, and now Yuji can begin to use positive cursed energy and use like reverse curse technique on himself and heal himself, because way back in the beginning of the series, Gojo tells Yuji that eventually he'll be able to use Sukuna's curse techniques. Now obviously that doesn't mean that he'll be able to use reverse curse technique. We thought that went more along the lines with like cleave and dismantle or whatever Sukuna's true curse technique is. Maybe it doesn't stop there. Maybe he can just use anything that Sukuna can, like positive cursed energy or something, and reverse curse technique as a result of that. I mean, also like, and it took Gojo nearly dying at the hands of Toji for him to realize how to do it. So maybe there's like an analog moment here with Yuji possibly. But as for what's going on with Naoya and Okkotsu, now either Okkotsu is going to straight up use reverse curse technique on Naoya and heal him, or he like kills Naoya or something, which would be super interesting. But I think it's like a coin flip right now, right? But let me know what you think is gonna happen in the next chapter. Man, Jujutsu Kaisen is on fire right now. I'm so excited for what's gonna happen next. But like I said, let me know. And if you like the video, guys, please give it a like. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Have a great day. I'll see you in the next one.